Alright, welcome to MRFC's first tactics talk. Today we'd like to welcome Coach Mark Russell. Welcome, Mark. We're going to talk briefly over the next couple of minutes about your last game of the league. I believe you played Lake Washington Premier Football Club, which ended up in a 3-0 victory for you and your girls. More importantly though, clinched the league title. So congratulations on that. I was wondering if you can talk us through your preparation moving into the game in terms of your system, your choice behind that system. Did you know anything about the opponent moving into this game and how you adapted for that?
In regards to the 05 game, we had never played the 05 Lake Washington team. However, the same coach has the 06 and the 05 teams, as do I, MRFC. So from just by taking team by team, they played in a 4-3-3 formation, but they kept their 7 and 11 Lake Washington in blue on the board, as they kept them nice and white. We started in our as normal our 4-2-3-1 formation. But knowing that they stay high and wide, I told my fullbacks to just stay more kind of like a back four rather than support forward. As the game went on, we were dominating, so the two Lake Washington wingers started getting pinned back a little bit as we dominated the game. That naturally brought them back, and it naturally started to bring the fullbacks tucked in, just because we were on top.
So if you don't mind me jumping in there, in terms of them becoming more defensive and understanding your creativity and your attacking flair, what did you do to try and become optimal in the final third, knowing that they were trying to almost set up shop?
The game started just because I have my girls, my 7 and 11, start wide and make kind of runs which penetrate or breach back four lines. But as you saw, just because of how narrow and compact they were, it was a very narrow game. It was almost getting played with the width of the 18. So I told my two wingers to stay on the shoulder but stay high and wide. And that we were getting crossing positions, but more importantly we were getting into that area rather than kind of fiddling the ball or wasting kind of opportunities just before. So that was my initial adaptation. As the game went on, we were dominating, and they were pinned in. They were clearly pinned in and struggling to get out. So just because of, again, I spoke about them coming back, they kind of had one pivot, but just through the game it became more kind of like that, with kind of two sitters, and I felt as if I was not utilising my back four. So what I did is I actually made a change to something like that. So I went to a back three, and just because of the athleticism we had, I felt comfortable kind of not going 1 for 1, but always having kind of two. If the ball was over here, we would step up, etc, etc. More importantly with that, it put me kind of 2v2 in that kind of area, and again, just through the run of play, our 6 kind of man with them, and they kind of pushed on. So I felt very comfortable with almost kind of that 4v4 kind of in this area, as well as 1v1 wide, and I felt with the ability that we had, we would get opportunities, and we pressed, and they were pinned in and they were struggling to get out, but these two players were very defensive rather than offensive, so I felt comfortable giving them that ball and giving them that area of the park, because I would fancy my girls 4v4 arguably any day of the week.
Fantastic. I was wondering if you could potentially talk us through one of the 3 goals. I mean, I was at the game, and I think goal number 2 stood out for me. It was a good possession play, and the ball came across the box, and your girls, using your terms, breached the line really well, which to my viewing looked like that they maximised an overload inside the 18-yard box. I was wondering if you could potentially talk us through that goal.
So it came from throw-in, and it was our throw-in, so we had kind of shifted over kind of that. I would say the game kind of looked a little bit arguably like that, and I'm going to say it was in and around kind of halfway, maybe just slightly into our half. But we'd kind of we'd flew it up the line again. We were just, you look at already there, 1v1, 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 arguably 1v1, you know, all here. And you know, as you saw, the ball went down the line. I think it kind of broke. We then kind of possessed very well, and then kind of got the ball where we, like I spoke about, where we looked to get the ball and then obviously attack. And as soon as that happened, it almost became a foot race. And I mean, I was delighted just because I saw that player spin, that player attack, and before you know it, it was just an onslaught of, you know, we were kind of queuing up arguably to score, and thankfully the ball came in and we got a great finish. But I was just delighted with the support that we had in the box, but also the composure before that to get the ball into the areas, which we've obviously rehearsed and practiced in regards to practice. So yeah, that was a great goal for us actually.
Absolutely fantastic. I was just wondering if at any point throughout the game the Lake Washington posed a little bit of a threat to you, and if you can recall throughout the game where they had minutes or a certain percentage of possession that may have caused you a bit of a problem, and how you adapted to neutralise their threat.
What I did say is that obviously I went from a 4 to a 3. I did obviously go back to a back 4, so that gave them something to worry about, just because you know, like I said, if we went back to a 4, we were always kind of, it was kind of there. They kind of stayed kind of 4-3-3 throughout, which we identified and we were well aware of that. But just that, you know, we were 2 up front and we were linking up with a front 2. Then obviously we were 1 up front. So that they were struggling to solve that. What I also did do is I rather than go like a 4-2-3-1, it naturally kind of happened that we kind of looked like almost like a 4-1-4-1, just because of our attacking mid going there. But like I talked about, with them pinning back, the 3 was fine, but the 4 as well, we just played wide like that. So that helped, you know, they were naturally back and pinned in, and they naturally started drifting out, which again then opened space for either, you know, our 6 to get on the ball, a 10, our 9 to play the feet, or 11, you know, kind of put them into those areas. So the thing that we did is we were clever with our back 4, back 3, 2 up front, 1, you know, and keeping our number 10, because I think that's an important position for us to win the game.
Fantastic. And finally, just obviously you won the game 3-0. What were the messages to the players after the game?
I told, one thing for me was, you know, it was 0-0 at half, and we, although we were dominating, we didn't have the personality to go and, you know, score goals, or to create those kind of goal scoring opportunities. So at half time I talked to the girls about personality, and not personality in terms of jokes and laughter, but personality in a soccer sense is, you know, go and express yourself. Like I said, we had them where we wanted them. It was a case of making the right decision or making the right choice, you know. And you talked about the second goal, that decision or that personality to get yourself in the box and get in the right area, and that for me was what the difference was in regards to first half to second half, and the result showed that.
Fantastic. Well, appreciate your time, Coach Mark. Congratulations again on winning the league, and hopefully many more league titles in the future. Appreciate your time. Have a good day.